Yep, looks like we're live on YouTube. Cool. Let's check out Twitch. Oh, Rob is online too. Hey, there's Jose. Hello. Stream manager. Pop out chat. All right. Just setting up my screens and everything here. It's always a bit of a thing to set everything up. Share the link with the community. Oh wow, we're almost at 91,000 subscribers. Damn. Actually, I can start sharing my screen. Share. Okay, so now you should be able to see my screen. Can you please let me know if the sound and everything is okay for you? And if you can see everything? We are live. Okay. Cool. Looks like we are ready to go here. Let's see, how many have we tuned in? 26 right now. Sound is good, thank you. Hello everyone. Anthony, nice to see you. Is it still worth it, Kubernetes in this AI era? Pay very close attention to my YouTube channel this week. That's all I will say about that. Or next week, I should say. Everything is top notch. Thank you. One day I'll be cool like you. Well, I'm not sure how cool I am, but I'll take it. Thank you. Okay, so just waiting for some more people to come in, and we are officially starting at 4, which is 1 minute past now. Let's just wait for a couple of people to come in more. But the topic that I have planned today is the recent age verification drama that seems to be going on in the Linux world. And look, we are almost at 91,000 subscribers. So guys, if you're watching this and you haven't subscribed yet, please do, because I'm almost at the 100,000 mark. I'm really going for that silver play button now. I've been working so hard on YouTube for, wow, what is it, 5 years now? So I could use all of the support I can get, and it's completely for free. Hello, Team King Misha. I didn't see a stream. What do you mean? Oh, what happened last week? Yeah, I something has something came up, and I unfortunately had to. I could not do the stream, and I did not manage to inform you either. So that was unfortunate, but we're here now again. GK, hello there. Jose, also from Twitch. Hey, thanks for the support, man. That's cool. Yeah, so actually, this was the GK. You are actually number one. Keep it up, man. Um, yeah, what was I about to say? Twitch. I was gonna say something about yesterday. Well, I don't remember. All right. Well, we are officially past starting time now. We have 51 people who tuned in. So welcome everybody. Let's get this party started. What we're gonna do is we're gonna look into something that has been on my feed. If we go for Linux age verification. And wow, look at this YouTube homepage. Druids, uh, 90s guy talking about stem cells, breathwork, Schubert, jungle, Diablo 2, muscular guy, lots of bearded guys. So you always see there's always something you can get from someone's YouTube home feed. But what I was gonna show you is the Linux age verification. So Brody, he has already done a video on this, and I watched this video recently. And actually, here's my brother. He looks almost exactly the same as me, but this one, okay. So here are a few videos. I don't think that I can watch videos together with you. I'm not sure if that would work, but let me just try. If I just play this, like, do you even hear that sound? I have no idea if that's possible. Probably not. Um, no. Okay, so this doesn't play the audio, unfortunately. But what we can do is I can just share these links with you in the notes. So let me see. We can Linux or age verification. So this session is going to be almost like a sort of co-researching session, but I've apparently some legislation has come out in America that um, forces operating system providers here. Well, actually, this sums it up nicely. So this is a new law. For example, this is in Colorado, and requirements for operating system providers and developers. So an operating system provider shall do the following: provide an accessible interface at account setup that requires an account holder to indicate the birth date or age of the user of that device for the purpose of providing an age signal to applications available in a covered application store. And this is to provide a developer that requests an age signal with respect to a particular user, the technical ability to call an age signal via reasonably consistent real-time application API. So what they're basically doing is they're making tech companies that provide operating systems. They make you fill out your age so that if you download software, then like application stores can verify what your age is. This is how I understand it. And yeah, this is basically what we're going to be researching right now, what this means, if this is actually a problem or not, and what this means for us Linux users. Because that's the thing, there are multiple distributions who have already implemented this, but I don't even know what that looks like. So I'm literally just researching this as we go. But if some people have done it already, if you have any knowledge about this, please share that in the chat. Hi from Argentina. Hello. Yeah, your bro actually looks like you. Are you twins? Yeah, right. He could be my twin actually. Facebook Meta has been paying for these laws. Yeah, Brazil is the only one that is currently enforced. Okay. Yeah. So California, Colorado, and New York have laws in the pipeline. So there are many things here. So let's just start with this image. Hold on. Here. Okay. And for researching, I actually like to use Grok these days. But before I do that, I want to stop sharing. And I will just set up my AI prompts here. Like I don't want to dox all of the chats that I have running, because that is actually quite a private thing to expose. So let's see, trans. See if that works. Okay. All right, so that works. Then we can go to Perplexity. Close the sidebar here. And for good measure, we'll just do Claude as well. Okay. So sharing my screen again. What we're going to start with is first asking transcribe this. I mean, look how fast Grok is. Like, this is pretty crazy. Grok is. I mean, I'm always testing out different models, different things, but and I have Grok basically for free or included because I have a paid X account, and this. So I'm always just trying this out too. But the great thing about Grok is that it can actually access X. So we're going to be utilizing that. But let's just start with the nodes here. So node, the law transcribed from the video. So look up which law this is. Yeah, look how fast that is. This is crazy. Okay. So it already got the law here. So it's in Colorado State, apparently. Okay. And let's see. Yeah, so this is basically meant to regulate Apple, Android, and Microsoft because, like, I don't know, I'm not a lawyer or anything like that, but I think the origin of this is so that people, like, they can then force people to, um, especially for mobile phones and MacBooks, etc. They can then force people to give their age so that you cannot download certain apps from the app stores, right? But not taking into account Linux, which is a completely free and open operating system. So Linux basically kind of becomes this odd beast here that may not be, it should not even be covered by this law, right? But as we will see, we have already seen multiple distros actually going for it just to be sure. So the bill was introduced early 2026. It has not yet been enacted into law. It is still progressing through the legislative process. Okay. Context and similar laws is modeled closely after. Okay. Yeah. So in California, it's already actually um, enforced or in law. Oops. Both aim to push the age attestation upstream to iOS providers and app stores instead of pre-app checks. Per app checks. There's been significant discussion and concern in tech open source communities of potential impacts open source operating systems. Yes, okay, so we can use this chat as deeper context. Let's see if someone in the chat has already shared. California, New York have laws in the pipeline. Yeah, okay, yeah. I think UK already implemented age verification. System D systems will roll out this age verifications BS first. Okay, so there's definitely a few questions that we're going to be answering here. So what is the relationship between system D and age verification? That's a good one. Work Red Hat wants to use the Apple systems for it. It will apply to all operating systems. Malicious compliance turn off all the network kit when the law kicks in because the operating system does not have the age verification API. Yeah, exactly. Toerwals is a commie. No, the bill passes, but still not in effect in California. Okay. They may not know as to how to enforce it beyond certain OS. Yes. So how would this? Well, I mean, it's like it's not even a question of how will this be enforced, but let me see the Linux response. So actually, we will have to. Let's see if I open up a new chat. Yeah, let's just use Grok for now. Um, let's get the transcript. Which distros have well, first provide a summary of this video. Yeah. Okay, the UK Online Safety Act. So we will have to look a little bit into that. The UK's Online Safety Act. What is that? Oh, this was already 2023. Protects children and adults alike, puts a range of new duties on social media companies and search services, giving them legal duties to provide their users from illegal content and content harmful to children. Okay. Yeah, so it's about age restriction on electronic devices. But this specifically mentions social media companies and search services, right? So like I'm a bit annoyed that this then has to extend to operating systems. That is the thing here. Um, like I can see a reason why you would want to verify your age for social media. Like I don't actually see anything wrong with that. What do you guys think? Like is there anything wrong for like setting the operating system aside, but what do you think about social media platforms needing age verification? I mean, I think that might be a good thing. Like if you are on Instagram and Meta can pull out all the men who exclusively have contact with girls between age 12 and 16, like you can pretty easily pull out all of the pedophiles from there, right? Like, would you say that it is a bad thing? And you can also filter, like, there's so much garbage on social media. Like, if I would have a child, what would I want? Would I want that to be age controlled? Like, I've never really thought about this because I grew up with a free and open internet. And I have had many experiences where I was exposed to stuff that I shouldn't have seen. Anybody remember rotten.com? Who remembers rotten.com here? Age verification should be done at application level. Yeah, right? Yeah, the law is good in favor safety of children as far as social media, but for OS, yeah, that's right. Uh, Entering a birthday is one thing, but how is it verified or checked? I could put in any date. It is probably you probably will have to provide um, identification in that case. But as you say, yes, you could put in any date. And I think like we'll get into how this is actually going to work, but how yeah, so how would this even be enforced? How would you prove age at a Linux level? Like is this like maybe this is just a system administration thing? Like is this admin thing? So because when you create a user account on Linux, like there's this old school way of prompting the user for creating a user account, and it will ask for like your name, your team, your company, all that kind of stuff. So maybe there's just going to be a question about age, and that's it. The school questions for when creating add a age question. So we'll see how that is going to be implemented. But let's just on the philosophical side think about. Um, I have websites asking me to scan IDs here. Yeah, Lively, aka After Gore. Yeah, right. So like I will tell you a couple of stories. Like when I was younger, like my parents had no idea about the internet. They had no idea about computers. I literally had a computer in my room when I was 12 years old with free access to the internet. And I there were uh, uh, who here remembers Napster or Kazaa, right? These softwares where you could download music. Well, I used to download music videos. I was very much into metal music, right? So I would download these 360p um, metal music videos, and these what would happen. Distinctly remember this. What happened was there was a Metallica video, a video clip of a Metallica song that I downloaded, and I downloaded the video clip, the song, and when I opened the file, what I saw was a man lying on the ground like this, and then someone put his boot on his face, and then this huge knife came into the screen and started just sawing this man's head off. And I can still see that image in front of me. There was the sound, him just dying, and all the blood everywhere. And I was 12, 13 years old. And I don't have a visual memory, but that image, I can still see it. And that actually, um, you've seen that video too, yeah, right? So I was like 12 years old when I saw that, and it was a Metallica video. That was the title, and that happened so many times, like that kind of stuff where you would download something and see something like that, or people being shot. It happened all the time, and uh, then the game became like who can find the goriest website. So it's not healthy. But when I was like 15 or so, me and my cousins and my friends, we would be sitting around. Oh, did you see that picture on rotten.com? And did you see this gore video? Like that is not healthy for teenagers to see, right? So like if I had a kid, I would I would be okay with censorship on the internet so that my kids wouldn't see that on social media, for example. In any case, my kids wouldn't have access to social media anyway, period. But as someone said here, teenagers are always going to find a way around it anyway. So, whew, yeah, it's like speaking from my own experience, I can say that I was definitely exposed to things that I shouldn't have been exposed to as a kid, teenager on the internet. So I'm speaking from a personal perspective here, just to be clear. I'm not being dogmatic or something like that. You have a 15-year-old kid. You can't stop teenagers. Yeah, okay. Only terminal till you're 18. Yeah, right. That's the fix. Just Ubuntu server. Yeah. Well, yeah. So, okay, but that's social media. So this is then the origin of this. Okay. The law originated from the UK Safety Act. Yeah. So it's about child safety. Cool. So there's the California law. Yeah. Brazil started enacting it. Now, the challenges for Linux assumes a central OS provider. Yeah, that's the issue, right? Because they're doing this for Microsoft, Apple, and Google. They're not like targeting Linux with this. It just happens that this also falls under it. So they didn't really think about that when creating the law. Potential responses from Linux distros, so compliance. Yeah. So yeah, commercially. So which ones of the main distros have already implemented this? Search X and internet and think deeply. So cool thing about Grok is that it has this multi-agent stuff built in. So it will launch multiple agents that are now going to search and talk to each other, which is pretty cool. And the best thing about X is, or about Grok is that it has access to X, which arguably is the live feed of the tech industry. Period. So as this is running, so this was the first video. Now there was another video um, here. Okay, Slackware says no, but Fedora Linux says yes. And uh, as we are watching or as we are streaming here, I'm running this on Fedora Linux. So I'm running Linux and Fedora. So if this becomes a thing for my setup or my op OS, I'll have to like decide whether I want to share my age or not. And I don't really have necessarily an issue with sharing my age, to be honest. Like I'm all about privacy, but it depends on at what level that age is shared, right? So if it's just literally something I have to fill out, but that we'll see about that how this is actually going to be implemented. But like from what I see in the law text, it's about providing a signal to an app store. Well, there is no app store in Linux. So, well, okay. So this guy, he has been the Lunduk Journal. I saw I deliberately didn't go into this yet because I wanted to do this live. But he has been talking a lot about this recently. Midnight. Okay, Midnight BSD becomes first open source operating system to ship age verification. So they already did it apparently. So he is basically becoming the latest source of latest news on this. Uh, okay, so CatchOS. Slackware says no. Let's see. Systemd forked to remove age verification. Wow, there are a couple of Arch Linux says opposing age verification is code of conduct violation. Okay, so he has been talking a lot about this for a while already. So let's just see what X is going to tell us now, or Grok, I should say. So as of 5th of April, none of the main Linux distributions have implemented it. Ubuntu, no implementation. Canonical is reviewing it right now. Pop! OS, no implementation. CEO is critical of it. Okay. Fedora, no implementation. Active the discussions. Okay, but let's then check um, this video. What did it say about Fedora? Yeah, Fedora Linux says yes. Okay, so let's open that. I guess what is he using here? Does he write about this? Age verification status. Okay, look, this is cool. Wow. Okay, so he is actually making. He actually has a repo here. That's really cool. So this guy, he is doing he is doing a good thing here. Ooh, lots of questions here. Okay. Um, being not New York, doesn't the politicians have anything better to do? Yeah. How does it impact as learners and pros of that? Well, that's what we're finding out. He has a GitHub up with the distro. Yeah, cool. We just found it. Thanks. It's not about your age. Uh, Wait, you can't hear me? What do you mean? Sound volume is fine. Mic volume low. What do you mean? Hello, check 1 2. Yeah, there isn't much that I can do here, guys. The volume is already at max. Like I could perhaps I increase the gain now. Let me know if this impacts your sound negatively or positively. Let me know if this helps. Let me know if is it better now? The mic sound? This is better. Sounds fine on your iPad. All right. Well, I increased the gain. Let me know if it's right now. This will turn into a metal show, yeah. It did get better. Okay. Well, thanks for letting me know if there. Always let me know if there's an issue with sound or whatever, because I'll try to fix it. But this is very useful. So you will see that he now has this repo open here. Let's start it. Everybody go here and start it and support this guy. But let's just he says here, Fedora Linux says yes, and I can't watch the whole video, but let's just add this to our mix here. This guy claims Fedora said yes. Can you read the transcript and summarize what he says? Okay, and so there are those who are boycotting it. Slackware is in the no camp. Dev1, Omari, Arch Linux is an independent fork. Void Linux, firm no. Ageless Linux, all right. So we're getting new distros based on this then, apparently. He quotes the Fedora project leader from a recent forum post. The leader discusses technical details and suggests the ideal path to adopting a standard API, probably Apple's existing parental control signal API, so that Linux distros can expose consistent parental control signals. Okay. Canonical made it pretty clear they will add some form of it. Okay. Okay, so that's actually pretty worrying. Like if Fedora, what does it say? Fedora planning discussion. Fedora project leader. Okay. Wow, this is a pretty deep rabbit hole, actually. But at least we now have a repo where we can track status of this. But so we know that there are like if you're really against it, then Omarchi Linux has a developer statement, but Omarchy is just Arch Linux. So how does that work then? Omarchy has no plans to do anything in response to this retarded law, but Omarchy is using Arch Linux as far as I'm aware. So, and if Arch Linux is going to do it, then who will? Then Omarchy also has to do it. Graphene, that's for the mobile phones. So all of these are definitely not going to do it. Void Linux, EndeavourOS. Okay, so Void Linux and EndeavourOS are not doing it. So that's good. I did hear about Void Linux. So what is Void Linux again? I don't remember. Void Linux? Independent distribution, stable rolling release. We use runit as the init system. Okay, yeah, that's not going to work for me because I want to have systemd. But maybe we should look into systemd then. Because if Fedora says yes, then there was also a video by him about systemd, right? CacheOS is also censoring radicals. Okay. Here, systemd forked to remove age verification. That's going to be the next one. But let's check the chat first. Brian is a right-winger. He's a bit of a crank. Is that the guy that we're looking at? He used to host the Linux Action Show. He's a silly guy. He's very politically biased. Okay. Is this the Lunduk Journal guy? Is that Brian? Omarchy probably does not have the skill to remove it. Yeah, exactly. Doesn't Omarchy use systemd? Yeah, exactly. Oracle, no Spirit does Linux stores. Well, like Linus, he creates the kernel, right? So in that saying, okay, Brian Lunduk, that's the guy. Okay. I mean, Linus, he creates the Linux kernel, but that is not an operating system, right? It's a kernel. So it's actually the distributions that need to take a stand because Linux on its own doesn't do very much. But it's helpful to know that he is a politically biased, very politically biased right-wing guy. But in any case, like I don't think that this would influence his Linux age verification reporting too much. Like it's either yes or no, right? So systemd forked to remove age verification. So let's then get this transcript and research that for a bit. Because I want to know how would you even implement this on Linux? Let's see. New chat. This is a video transcript. How does age verification work in systemd? How is it implemented? And what is systemd doing now? Okay, so it does not involve actual verification. It adds an optional birth date field to the systemd user database records. Yeah, this is what I was expecting, right? This is the self-reported data on the local machine, and users or even the account owner can modify it. Or cannot modify it. Only administrators root can set it, typically via tools like homectl. Okay? So systemd already manages extended user identity through systemd userdb service, which stores JSON-based user records with optional fields. Yeah. So it's already storing age. This is what I was saying earlier, that actually, let's open a new chat. Will this work? Hello? Yeah, I can actually dictate. So when you I remember on older Linux systems, there was an add user or user add command, and it would ask for multiple questions like your name and your team or something like that. And it would store that on the Linux system. What was that command, and is that still being used? I believe it doesn't ask about that anymore. Add user, not user add. And still is in many cases a more user, yeah. Sudo add user username. So let's try shkato, which add user. Yeah, it has, so I'm now on my Raspberry Pi. So let's do sudo add user grok. Okay, so I have a new user here, new password. Okay, yeah, here, enter the new value or press enter for the default. So grok stream, whatever. Room number, right? It asks for, that was it, room number, so that's 3. Work phone, right? So like you could already argue that, oh my God, Linux is asking for my personal details. It's asking for my phone number. Oh my God, it's not a free operating system anymore. I have to give my phone number. Home phone? It's even asking my home phone. Oh my God. Other? Hello? Is the information correct? Yes. Okay. So Linux already used to do something like this. And I think Linux age verification implementation then simply means adding another question to this prompt, right? But as you have seen, I can literally put in bullshit and it would work, right? I mean, this is my very limited understanding of how it would work. But this is how there was already like this on systems. It's no verification, it's just a way of linking user your what do you call it? A number to your user in that sense. Okay? That was already happening on Linux. So if systemd then simply adds an optional field of birth date, like for me, that is no reason to switch from Linux, away from systemd. Okay. It does not enforce any policy, perform checks, or block apps. So this ties into broader ecosystem efforts. The field was added to mainline systemd. There was heavy backlash with a revert PR that was closed. Okay. Wow. So liberated systemd because of a birth date field. I mean, okay, I am. Okay, well, we'll see what the chat has to think about this, but like for me, this seems like it's being blown a little bit out of proportions here. Okay, so this is the implementation on Linux systems fundamentally, as I understand it. Let's see. Yeah, so they already forked it. There is the liberated fork, liberated systemd. That's what he says in the video. systemd forked, liberated systemd. So there is a fork of it already. All sorts of folks. Ever uses the user agent. The systemd thing will give apps a Boolean attestation. The poor guy who did the pull request is getting doxxed and death threats. Oh my god. That is done for office users. Yes, exactly. Right? So it just saves on your system and doesn't leave. Exactly. What is the difference between sudo? Yeah. That's a little bit out of context right now. Yes, I'm using Grok a lot. No one is talking about why Meta is funding the lobbying effort. Yeah, that is political. I'm not going to get into that. Most of these forks are just to show sentiment. They will die in a few months. Yeah, I think so too. It's not about the field being present. It's the requirement to provide the data to any external source on a program-by-program basis to verify users at an API level. Yeah, so but is that true though, Xiago? Like to any external source, like the law, at least the Colorado law, says that it needs to be provided to app stores. But I can download anything on my machine and run it in a container, and there's no app store involved. Like there's binaries, but like on your phone, you have an app store where you make purchases and everything, right? But on Linux, there is no app store. So I'm still like I need you guys to explain it, right? Because I'm clearly not understanding here. And let's just figure it out together, right? The issue is to comply to government policies that in essence try to serve as a user identification such as the UK has. First, only a date living on your machine. Later will be accessed by a warrant. You know? How is it checked by sites? How will it present? Yeah, I mean, I don't think it would... It will hit Flatpak. That's a good point. Like Flatpak is an app store in that sense. But even if, but let's say, right, in a situation where they say they require any user that downloads from Flatpak, they require that user to have an age field. Well, if I am the Linux, I'm the administrator of my system, right? I set it up, I install my system, and then when I do add user, just like the phone number, I get a field, what is your age? And I just fill in 79. Who's gonna know? Like, who's going to, how are they going to enforce that? Like, I don't have a problem if I need to give a number and that App Store hypothetically checks that number and to allow me to download applications that are over 18 or something like that. Like, as long as I'm administering my own system, there's no real issue for that. However, if I were to set up my a laptop for my kid, right, and that would obviously have Linux on it, then my kid would not have administrator rights on that laptop. The kid would not be allowed to change the age on the laptop, on the system. Like, I would set it up with his correct age so that he would not be exposed to wrong things. That, like, I would actually like that if that is there. So, like, as long as we are all grown men and adults managing our own system, if we can then fill out our own a fake age, then what's the issue? Are you using Bluefin? No, I'm just using Fedora Atomic Sway. In the U, there are GDPR rules. I already explained. Well, what did you explain, Constant? I don't. What exactly did you explain? Can you copy the message? I can't see it. Sorry. Um, but yeah, it's a good point. Like, I am not covered by Colorado laws, but I can see why a Fedora or Canonical would have to comply because they have users in Colorado, for example. But the developer will be held responsible for the usage of the application. If it's used in a way this was unintended, the developer will be held responsible and be fined accordingly. Okay? But if I can literally just um, fill out the number on my machine, I don't really see what the problem is here. But maybe I'm just oversimplifying it, right? But if literally people are forking systemd because what systemd did was add a birth date field, which is not even required. What? So is the birth date field mandatory? It's not even mandatory. So we're just focusing on systemd here, okay? So because like that, I would say any like if systemd does something, then like I'm concerned with Linux and related to my career, also for my home use, but like I would never use a distro that doesn't use systemd because I always want to get better at using systemd because any operating system of any significance out there that is being used in production uses systemd. Red Hat, Canonical, Ubuntu, OpenSUSE. I think that uses systemd. Let's do another one. Does OpenSUSE use systemd? Yeah, and SUSE Enterprise use it too, right? All current SUSE distributions also use systemd. Okay, so like I'm live streaming here, but my claim, like I'm a DevOps engineer and I teach people to become DevOps engineers, and my claim is that I want to always use Linux distributions for my own personal use that use systemd because basically any production system that you will see out in the wild is using systemd. Therefore, as someone who is always wanting to become better at my craft, I always want to get as much experience as possible with systemd. Is that a correct statement to make? Yes, it's largely correct. Systemd dominates production Linux. Red Hat, Ubuntu, SUSE, Fedora. Okay, small nuances, not literally any production system. There are a few, okay, some very old legacy systems, niche or specialized embedded systems. A small number of people, companies run non-systemd, like Devuan, Void, Artix, or Gen2. Okay. So your philosophy is correct and professional. Sticking with systemd-based distributions for your personal use is one of the best ways to stay sharp as a DevOps engineer and teacher. Okay, so that is why I'm so hyper fixated on systemd. And systemd then says the birth date is not mandatory; they just added it. Well, if this is what all the fuss is about, then I am definitely like I'm get not getting something here. The worry is that they're going to push for more. Next is a requirement to use verification to verify who you are. Yeah, but who says so? Like that would happen when you download the distribution or something like that, right? The next step might well be that they require to verify your ID with government API, and then you get an age certificate. Yeah, but if that, okay, well that is I think that is quite far in the future. I'm not sure that like that would require some very heavy legislation, right? To implement that, that basically means that there is no privacy anymore when that happens. And then I think we have bigger problems to think about because it would also be for your iPhone and any App Store related thing, you would have to scan your ID and have your digital ID connected to your Apple iStore, for example, right? I mean, at that point, what is going to be where's the escape going to be? Like in that case, then you would just, if you really have an issue with that, then you would have to use something that is then excluded from these app stores, for example. But think about like if Red Hat, if this becomes a thing, right? So any Red Hat user now has to be ID verified. Like you cannot claim people in the military working with Red Hat to link their actual passport to their user account. Like I don't see that happening anytime soon. Okay, well let's I will I'm just gonna say what Grok says here, right? So I'm live streaming. I'm a Linux creator, and this is what the chat is saying. Um, really, really curious what the agents are going to say about this. It's a valid concern, slippery slope worry. It's just a thin end of the wedge. And the next logical step is self-report isn't enough. You must, yes. Okay. Okay, so this is helpful. Let's see. OS must show a setup screen asking for birth date or age bracket. Must expose a real-time API that returns only an age bracket, like 18 plus, 13 to 17, under 13. So it's only about 18 plus, right? You have to verify that you're 18 plus. Apps must ask the OS for a bracket when launched. Explicitly self-reported honor system only. No ID scan, no biometrics, no external service requirement. Okay. So this is what the current laws require. Self-reported statement that you are 18 plus. Okay. The next step here is realistic. Yeah. UK is already a photo ID plus selfie, open banking, digital ID wallet. Yeah, so that's already in place here in the Netherlands too. Like there are digital services connected to my actual identity with passport and everything. Mm-hmm. Yeah. What I would say on your stream, okay, be honest. The fear is rational. So I'm just going to be Grok's voice here. The fear is rational. Infrastructure makes future overreach easier. I agree with that. Yeah. But right now, it's just still self-reported data, and Linux has escape hatches proprietary OSs don't. Use liberate systemd if you want the birth date field gone forever. Watch the does it verify tracker. Support distros that publicly say we will not implement stronger. Advocate for ZKP standards for maximum resistance non-systemd or minimalist distros. Yeah. The chat is right to be suspicious, stay vigilant, keep forking, keep the pressure on. Linux's greatest strength has always been that we can say no when the rest of the industry says yes, sir. That hasn't changed. Okay, well, I gotta say, I agree with that. I gotta say, I agree with that. Like, there is a, what do you call it? Like, rebellious element here, too, right? Sticking to your guns. In the UK, we have to provide age verification for any website which allows any form of chat, including comments and forums. It has taken various forms. Yes, so that is a UK thing. And then now it becomes a matter of technical competence to have to circumvent that, right? And yeah, I mean, even if you would use one of these distros that don't expose it, if the internet in your country or the websites located in your country won't allow you to log in anyway, then you're still fucked. Steam only accepts credit cards, as you have to be 18. Yeah, I mean, there's a bigger trend happening here, like judging from the chat here. It is not necessarily just about Linux, right? It's about using internet systems in general that would require you to log in or verify your age, I mean. The sooner you're using Linux as your daily driver, the less information the government will have. I'm not fond of what MS is doing lately. Yeah. Okay, so I feel quite a lot wiser after this investigation. So the answer here then is systemd implemented a birth date field, which is optional. It simply exists to have the possibility to store information about the user's age. Okay. How would this even be enforced? It is currently only self-reported. The law operates on a honor-based system. So yes, what I said, it is the system sysadmin thing. Yes, it is just a field in the user JSON database at this point. Yes. Yeah, so that's exactly how it is. So at this stage, what it means is, does your Linux distribution have a field to store your age, right? And based on this information, it's not even about your age itself, it's about whether you are 18 plus or not. Now, my personal stance is that I can see merit in, if I'm a father and I'm administering the Linux system of my son, then I would like to be able to set that system so that it exposes to the internet that he is under 13. Like I would genuinely like to have that option, especially if the laws require that, right? So I don't think having the fact that you store age information in Linux is an issue. However, I think it's an issue if this becomes mandatory and I would have to then scan my ID to verify that my information here is correct, right? So I fully support that there are Linux distributions that are saying, F you, we are not going to do this, and we are going to provide a alternative to people who do not want to disclose their age to the internet. And I fully support that. And I can see how that can be useful, especially like I'm a little bit shocked with what I'm reading here about all of the stuff in the UK, that you cannot use many different services without age verification. Like it is very clearly the trend there, what the world is moving towards. But yeah, it is a philosophical stance. But yeah, as you're saying, this is just to place a foot on the door. And yeah, I mean, like if the solution to this is just to install a distro that doesn't have age verification, like I don't see, like that is not magically going to open all of these sites for you in the UK, I would imagine. Like then it would just say you are not exposing your age, therefore you are not allowed to use our website. So I don't see how that solves anything. Like I almost see it as inevitable that Linux must have some system to implement this at some point. But I do fully support that some people do not want that, and then they accept the fact that they cannot use certain systems. Like there are people who will not use JavaScript on the current internet, right? Well, that means that like, I don't know, 80% of the internet is not accessible to them. And it's also, if you do, let's see, W3M Substack dot Misha Vandenberg dot substack.com. If I want to visit my Substack, oh, hold on, is it working now? Hold on. Can I read my Substack? Oh, wow. Okay. Well, actually, I can read my Substack from the command line. But if you do w3msubstack.com, here, then it will say this site requires JavaScript to run correctly. Please turn on. Okay, so this is fun. I discovered something today. I I thought that you couldn't use Substack without JavaScript, but if you just go to the Substack itself, you can actually um, open that Substack. But that was my point. Like, there are people who, for example, wouldn't be able to use Substack because they do not accept that JavaScript runs in their browser. So they won't allow JavaScript on their in their browser. So that is a very valid thing you can do if that is a choice you want to make. But that also means that certain things in the internet are not available to you. And I think every human being in the world should have that choice. I feel bad for the Brits. The website asks for age ID. Yeah, I agree. Isn't the parents responsible of your child under the age of 18? Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's correct. But the thing is, even the parents are all like, if you give internet access to your kid, like I'm not a father, so all of this is actually just very much an armchair discussion for me because I don't know what it means to raise children, right? I have no experience with it. But yeah, it's very hard to protect children. Um, like as I shared in the beginning, my own story, like all of the gore and all of the bad things that I have seen in my youth on the internet, like I wouldn't want my kids to see that. Mass surveillance is on the menu whether you like it or not. I mean, it's a defeatist standpoint, but I gotta say um, there is some truth to that. Like you can resist, but if literally any useful website is going to be required by law in the future to have some sort of age verification, then you can do what you want, but Linux is still going to have to comply. And if you then choose to use a version that does not use age verification, then that is a consequence similar to not using JavaScript, which is a choice I respect. Hi from Russia, great channel, by the way. Thank you. So yeah, this is my current stance on the subject. I think like this whole I'm very happy that there is so much discussion going on the internet and people like signaling this saying pay attention and that there are things being said about it. So I'm glad that is happening. At its current stage here, where System D now has an birth date field, like I have no issues with that personally. Like this would not cause me to switch to a different distro, even if they make birth date um, a mandatory thing to fill out. I would still not have a problem with it because you can just fill out whatever you want if you're a grown man managing your own system. Mainly also because it just requires a signal for you to verify that you're 18 plus. Like that is the law. You have to verify that you're 18 plus. So far I have no issues with that. Okay? Then I do agree that this may be like a first step into a slippery slope, blah, blah, blah. I agree. And that is a sign of the times. But I currently do not see why you should then start using something like Libri System D or whatever it was called. Uh, where is it? Was it this one? Here, liberated system D. Like I think that is a little bit over the top to call system D liberated just because it doesn't have a birth date field. Like I don't know. That is seems like a little bit of an overreaction to me. But then again, I am not one of these Edward Snowden types who is a true privacy advocate, right? Like I am not I I I use Linux because I don't want Microsoft scanning my computer and recording my voice, but I am not to the level where having an age field that I can fill out myself is a problem for me. Like I'm not that privacy concerned myself, and only you can decide for yourself. But that is basically my current stance on this. If you want to cover another open source drama, look at Euro Office. Okay, so let's do Euro Office. Yes, I was actually looking into this. The the Schleswig-Holstein, a German um, German municipality, actually went fully open source recently. This is just the first step to a zero trust system. Lots of geopolitics. Yeah. Jonathan B. I stand corrected. Okay. I wouldn't worry about a career regarding DevOps. It's safe for now. Yes, I do agree. What Linux should you use yourself as those color tiles at the bottom of your page? Um, I'm using Fedora Atomic Sway. It won't be maintained. Yeah. So yeah, that is my current stance on it. I hope this was useful to you guys to also get a sense of the age verification drama. And Grok, as I hope you can see how useful Grok has been, how fast it is, but also how it's able to search so much quickly, also including X itself. So yeah, I think it's currently a little bit overblown. I'm not that worried. It is something to follow, but so far to me it seems like a little bit clickbaity, overdone YouTube stuff right now. But I do respect that some people take this very seriously, and I'm also very happy that there are already a large um, list of Linux distributions that are explicitly saying no. So if you somehow have an issue with it, then there are alternatives for you. You can just go to Void Linux, for example. Just know that if you these are like I only know about Void, but if you're using Void, for example, that's not using systemd, and actually, probably all of these by definition are not systemd distros. Like by definition, you are using something that is not going to be very relevant to your career. So that is what I would say to that. That perhaps you would have like your fully private system that is completely like private, no age, nothing, for browsing stuff that is maybe a bit shadier, and you don't want anyone to know about that. And then your second system is a system that includes your age and your passport, even if it comes that far. Like I don't see that happening anytime soon. But let's say in 5 years you are required to scan your passport when you create an account on Linux, for example. Like at that stage, I would still do that because that means that every job that uses Linux, by definition, requires you to do that too. So like I would choose scanning my passport over being employed and making six figures a year. And yeah, maybe I I don't know. That is my stance on it. And yeah, I'm glad I did this. I'm glad I researched it. I hope this was useful for you guys. Follow the money. Yeah. Love from CubeCraft. Hey, nice to meet. Nice to see some CubeCrafters here. As long as there is a choice, like if you have a choice of running the operating system that you want, and there are Linux distributions that will allow you to do this, I will sleep soundly. So that is basically where I'm at. In any case, if you have Linux skills, you will also have the skills to circumvent this in the future, right? So there's all the more reason to learn Linux, especially when if you are watching this and you want to learn more about Linux. I have a free 8-hour course. It's the same course that my paid students use in the CubeCraft Career Accelerator, where I teach people to become six-figure DevOps engineers. That is what I do for a living. So if you want the free 8-hour course, go here. It's school.com/Linux, completely for free. And if you learn the Linux skills, then if this age verification becomes a thing, then you will also know that you have the skills to install a different distribution that doesn't have the age verification, if that is something that you want to avoid in the future. So in any case, no matter what happens, learn Linux well and you will be fine. Okay? I hope you all are doing well. I hope this was useful to you, my fellow humans. I wish you all of the best. Have a great Sunday. Have a happy Easter. Uh, call your mother or your father this afternoon and say hello to them. Know that and tell them that you think about them. Make the world a little bit better place. Thank you so much for your attention today, and I will see you in the next one. Have a good day, guys. Thank you for your time. I'm quite impressed with your presentation skills. Hey, thank you. I appreciate that. Bye, guys. Happy Easter. Have a good time. Mr. Night Guy, hello on Twitch. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks, everybody. Have a good one.